All right. So it is episode 12. You sound very excited about
No, I just blanked because I typed up Harry Potter
that.
into Google just in anticipation of what we're talking about, which is obviously Harry Potter, the first film to be exact.
Yes.
Um, and I typed up Harry Potter, and you know where the people also ask section of Google comes up.
Is it? It's not too
It's
raunchy
just
for this
where they.
podcast, is it?
Oh no.
Okay.
I just want to read you the four options that it's given me. All right.
Sure. Let's do it.
People also ask. All I said was Harry Potter.
Mhm.
People also ask, is Harry Potter for 7 years old?
For 7 years old.
Yes. Is Harry Potter a true story? That's what made me blank. That's what made me just sit there and be like,
Mm.
what? Um, did Harry Potter loves Hermione?
Loves
Um,
Hermione. Did he loves Hermione? I want to make sure I
yes.
heard you say that right. Okay.
Yeah. And how can I watch Daniel Radcliffe in Harry Potter? Which is
Mhm.
is, not the worst question there, but, also he's in every single one of them.
Yeah. What was the one we came across in the Cartoon Network episode? It was what country does what does country Ralph come from or something like that? It was
I
out of
don't
order.
remember.
Ah,
I'm sure that's in the episode. We have to just go listen back to it to
yeah.
find out.
I was laughing my ass off. LOL, lol, lamau,
Ruffle, if
ruffle
you
mal.
will. Ruffle Malawful, Ruffle
Yes,
Copter.
I learned all of those watching Arby and the Chief. We need to talk about Arby and the Chief one day, or like maybe a curation of episodes we like, because that series has so many seasons now. But that's not what we're talking about. In case you couldn't
Um,
tell, we're talking about Joe's apartment.
yeah, Joe's Apartment. Yeah, great film.
Yeah.
Unironically, absolutely like so bad it's good.
Mm. Oh no, it was delightful. Like it's all blurred into one thing, but I do remember while we were watching it, I thought this is quite fun. This is a
It's
silly movie, but
based on 3 minutes short from MTV, which is
mm,
actually just the entire scene where he takes whatever her name was back to the apartment.
I would have thought the short was just like him just discovering.
The cockroaches. No, in the
Yeah.
short, he's pretty much like used to living with them, and he doesn't even get angry when they drive her out of their unit.
Okay.
He just kind of sits there and goes, when
Mm,
they say, "Oh, there's plenty more fish in the sea," and he's like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And he drinks a beer, and that's it.
yeah, this is my life now.
Hmm.
His buds. But yeah, no. So we recently randomly watched the first Harry Potter film, and said, "Let's just talk about it." Because why not?
Yeah, I mean, it was either that or Joe's apartment, and
Mm,
you
yeah,
guys are going to be thankful that we happened to watch Harry Potter yesterday for no reason, because otherwise
yeah.
you'd be getting a Joe's apartment episode.
It was kind of an off the cuff thing, wasn't it? We were just kind of like, let's just watch something. I don't even
Halloween.
remember. Yeah, Halloween's coming up.
It's October. It's the first
Mm,
of October for us. That's why we watched it.
yep. And there's horror elements which we'll dive into. But we said, let's watch the first Harry Potter film, and we had a bet going um, about what was it, whether they go to the Forbidden Forest or not, which
Yeah,
I won.
yeah. Then I had to listen to some crap
Mm,
Jeremy Renner song.
yeah, but yeah. So it was pretty interesting to revisit it. I hadn't seen it for a long time. I don't know about you if you've been a fan of those movies or the books at all.
Nope. I've always said the first one is the best one, and that's definitely nostalgia. Not because like watching this back has made me go, this movie sucks, but it's just because that's the first one I ever watched, you know. Um I
Yeah.
I remember like the last time I probably watched it was on VHS. I would have been about 3 or 4 because I remember I was still too scared to watch the part where Voldemort comes out at the end.
Yeah, no, I always remembered being freaked out by that scene where his like face is latched onto the back of another, and also the scene that you forgot was in the movie and was the whole bit that I mentioned before, which was the when he's sucking the blood of a unicorn. So, oh, that's lovely to see in this family for kids wonderful fantasy wizarding film.
Makes you sit there and wonder, like, well, one thing I was wondering about that part, not sorry, it doesn't make me sit there and wonder, but did is that if that's Voldemort, right? Is that then the teacher that he's is that the teacher also there, or is Voldemort somehow in his own body there? Because I thought they said later on that he's not strong enough to live on his own without a host.
Yeah, I assume that that's the. I think that's the teacher because he like flies off, and the teacher does something similar. When he like
When he jumps at
catches,
Harry.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. That never was okay.
yeah.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. When I talked about before the whole kind of horrific angle, I sort of said it jokingly, like I think it's totally fine. Like you will, to have sort of scarier, more frightening things for children in children's based sort of films. But it is strange. I don't think you would see that anything quite like that today. Like it was still kind of when we were watching, I was like, oh, that's disgusting.
PG doesn't really mean anything anymore. And even that movie is probably considerably weak compared to like the PG stuff they had in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, which is an interesting segue because the one people go to is Gremlins, which was sort of I don't know what it was rated here in Australia, but that started the M equivalent in America. The PG-13 is kind of our M here.
Yeah.
And that's pretty intense because it's like you see a gremlin getting blended to death and like blood and guts going everywhere.
Yeah.
There's also a great joke that you would like. I think it's one of the characters says in Christmas has the highest like period of suicide rates or something, and she goes, "Some people are opening up their presents while others are opening up their wrists," which you wouldn't expect. Yeah, you wouldn't expect to hear in a kid's Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy, man. That's I mean I do I do enjoy that kind of humor. Like I can't pretend I don't, but
Yeah.
that's surprising to hear in a film because like you'd say that to somebody like online these days and you'd get I don't know, people would do whatever the equivalent of booing is. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you'd get downvoted on Reddit, I suppose.
And I said it's an interesting sort of thing to bring up because that film, I don't know if the final, version as it was kind of filmed is the same, but the director of this movie of Harry Potter was the screenwriter of Gremlins. So I'm wondering if that was like one of his.
You said that.
Dark
humor things. Did he direct the other ones?
So Chris Columbus is his name. He directed the first two, I believe. And I remember hearing an interview a long time ago on This Is the Thing or something like that. It's the Alec Baldwin radio show podcast he does, where basically his job as a filmmaker, he said he kind of knew in advance that it's going to get a lot progressively darker. So he had to kind of set the stage and have, it's a fun, lighthearted, childhood discovery, growing up type thing, but you got to set the stage for more darker elements, because it does sort of become more mature as the films or as the whole series progresses. And I thought, that's kind of interesting because you can kind of see that popping up here and there. So you rank it as your favorite. That's quite interesting to me. Or do you said that you feel that might have been nostalgia though?
I don't know. I honestly, now that I've seen it again, I go, not as magical watching it the second time around. Maybe the second one might be able to transition and become my favorite.
Yeah, that one I would say more so than the first one really freaked me out. Because that's got the giant basilisk, sort of the snake creature, and I was just always a little. I found it. I was always sort of unhinged a bit with the kind of whisper voice they'd give the snake, and just some of the gross things it did, or like the whole concept of being frozen in time when you petrified when you see its eyes. It's like, oh, that's spooky.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I always remember that being the second one, but it is Harry Potter and the Chamber of the Secrets is the second one,
Yep.
and Prisoner of of Azkaban is the one where the rat, the pedophile turns out to
Mm,
be
yeah.
a rat. You can't tell me that man isn't a pedophile, man. He was hanging out with the kid as a rat for years, literal years.
Yeah, so that's one of the beauties of watching the earlier ones with regard to the later. So what Kai you were referring to, of course, is Ron's rat.
Scabbers,
Yeah, Scabbers.
Scabbers, I think
Mm.
Scabbers, something like that.
He's a chap called Peter Pettigrew, and he can transform into the rat, and he's been in hiding pretty much because he's sort of aligned with Voldemort and all that. And it was funny watching this film because there's a scene on the train when we first have Ron and kind of Harry meet, and it's nice and wholesome, where you see the rat right on Ron's crotch. It's like, I don't know how I feel about that one.
Unless,
Mm,
I guess, like you could say maybe that there was a point where he killed the rat and then took its place.
Yeah,
But I doubt that they would. I doubt that that's the case, or that
no,
I
it
doubt that that's
was. They
what they would
explicitly say in the third one, so Azkaban, that he's been in the family for 12 years.
want.
So it's
Oh,
definitely him just sleeping in this little boy's bed with him and sitting on his crotch.
that's actually genuinely disturbing.
Mm.
Not in the way that they intended it to be either.
Well, that's kind of I guess that's sort of yeah. When you write these, it's sort of it's a bit worse than what the example I'm going to bring up, but it's kind of like when you write these big franchises and or stories rather, and you kind of think of these last minute things like, oh, what if X and Y happened? And it kind of there's weird connotations around that. So like with Star Wars, for example, with Leia and Luke being siblings, it's a bit sort of strange given that he had the hots for her in the first one and they sort of make out briefly in the second. And I know, at that point they don't know that they're siblings, but then it's really strange in retrospect when that's revealed in the third film.
It is very odd.
And the same things here, but it's a little more kind of.
Yeah, that's how I felt as well watching it. I just thought, man, this is something else. Not in
Uh,
a good way. I
but
mean, the movie itself is good.
yeah,
Um,
it holds up remarkably well, and even I was curious to see the Quidditch sequence, so flying on the brooms, and that was pretty good. Still,
yeah, I mean, like aside from the fact that for some reason you're just allowed to fucking physically assault the other players for
oh,
no
I
reason.
I meant sort of like technically, it kind of looked believable,
Yeah,
but
CGI wise, it looked fine.
yeah,
But
no,
yeah, like as far as being a soundly ruled and umpired game, I don't know, man. I think Slytherin was fucking paying off that whoever the referee was, because they
yeah.
specifically attacked two people, two other children in the game.
Well, I mean, it
I mean,
gets
that's the one thing
even.
about Hogwarts is like, they kind of just don't really give a shit too much, do they? It's meant to be a
Mm.
dangerous place.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the third one's a really good example of that because basically, when they realize Sirius Black, at this point he's a wanted man, he's escaped Azkaban, the prison, is in the castle. They're like, oh, well, I guess we'll just let those ghoul dementor things come around the children and attack them here and there, whatever. They're trying to find this bad guy. We won't do anything. To the point that they interfere in the game and nearly kill Harry, like while he's in the room in a fucking thunderstorm.
And no other wizard, they're all just
Mm.
watching.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's like the only one who's like, you know what, I'm gonna stand up here and like use a spell to save him before he falls to his death.
Yeah, I need him to die a little bit later.
Yeah, 3 more films. Dumbledore's a sussy bucker.
He is. I
But
mean, he's just a. He's a shapeshifter too. It's not even the
mm.
same Dumbledore.
Oh, true. Yes.
Like later films, that's a very insensitive joke. He does a
Yeah.
wonderful performance in this movie, I must say. This movie, like, I think honestly, the best stuff in this movie is not even like the plot. It's actually just the feeling of the movie and just the sets and
Hmm.
the designs and
Yeah. Well,
everything
this.
that actually makes it feel magical, for lack of a better word, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, it's sort of experiencing the world for the first time, the school, and yeah, there is sort of a plot loosely there. The mystery of like, well, it's not really defined, is it? They don't. It's interesting. It's not really a classical story in the sense of like we got to go from A to B. This is my journey.
He does that in the first 30 minutes.
Mm.
He goes from his crappy shit life to Hogwarts, and then it's a sort of a mystery thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
It
mix of
changes to a different style of story completely in a way.
yeah, and even then, it's sort of like a slice of life type thing. Like here's just what happens at this school. Like the other ones are a bit more conventional, where there's kind of a clearish thing happening. Yeah, especially from the fourth one onwards. When like Voldemort comes back fully, because then it's kind of a bit clearer.
All centered around him.
Yeah.
Also, ironically, in my opinion, it starts to dip in quality.
Yeah, I think like the last half of them were all filmed by the same guy. But yeah, no, Azkaban's probably my favorite. It's a great little film.
Yeah, it probably follows suit with the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, where it's like first three pretty fantastic. Makes you wonder though. You know how we always say in trilogies, like a good trilogy tends to be first movie good, second movie better, third movie somewhat passable. But then you get these films that go beyond trilogies, and it's usually then first movie good, second movie good, third movie good, everything else not really good. Isn't that interesting? That like, I wonder if that's just because the ones after the third ones are so low in quality compared to the first three that like the third one is no longer even bad. It's just like, well, at least it's not this. Do you think?
Maybe. Because the third one does have a big plot issue of the whole like going back in time locket that Hermione has, which kind of pretty much would fuck every single.
We were making fun of the whole time.
Yeah, we were. I'm pretty sure she only gets it in the third one though. I think, but even still, it's like
it's time travel. You can use it anytime.
Yeah. So it's that's sort of a bit of a. I don't know how that's explained in the books, if it is at all. But whenever you introduce time travel elements, it's kind of like, I don't know, you're really asking for trouble. Unless it's like the central focus of the story, like a Back to the Future or Predestination type of film. Trying to avoid it because you'll just kind of ruin what's come before. I mean, I'd even say that Endgame kind of falls into that. I know they try to get around it with you sort of splinter and create a new timeline for yourself, but still, it's kind of I don't know. You like in that one, it's more what like they go. Oh, we got to go back in time to these 6 different locations and years, but there are probably better places to choose where like all of them, almost all of them, are on the glove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that whole shebang, unless we really wanted to boost our ratings, and then I would just say some outrageous shit like, something that's just completely not true about the film, and just get a bunch of people to, debate. But that's not how I'd like to approach if we ever do manage to get an audience, acquiring said audience.
Yeah, you can only be like the shock jock controversial person for so long before you kind of become like just obnoxious, or like that's all your persona is, and so then you can't really have a genuine relationship or express genuine views about something you really like. If you always seen as the contrarian type, I guess.
Yeah.
And I won't name names here, but there's definitely some YouTubers who have kind of gone into that sphere a bit, where whenever something more mainstream comes out, the expectation is that they will just sort of hate on it regardless, or maybe to an unjustifiable extent.
Yeah.
And I'm just not interested sort of in watching them anymore because I know their take, and it's like, this is so tiresome. Like, it may also just be because when you're reviewing something, This is sort of something I came across by a film critic, actually. So this is, I guess, a legit thing. Normally, what he said to me and what he'd learnt is you don't want to just sort of say, "Oh, this film was average." You have to be very emotive about if you liked something, well, you really liked it, or if you hated or didn't like something, you really hated it. So, some people can kind of fall into that contrarian trap where they have to just sort of hate everything, and that's what they're known for.
And
I
then
guess.
to remain as like a good reviewer, they have to
Yeah.
mega hate it all. is what you're saying.
Yeah. I guess like some people
Mega
make the
hate.
mistake. I don't even know. I'm sort of trailing off there. I don't even know what my point was. Oh yeah, going back to what you said. Yeah, like you don't want to kind of get fans through sort of negative energy. You know, just ask Logan Paul how that's gone for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, or his brother.
Yeah, would you really be? I mean, you can kind of tell with Jake that he clearly isn't happy having that kind of like growing that audience.
That's why he's trying to become like a friggin' boxer, but
Yeah.
nobody respects him enough to even like he'll win a fight, and I'm one of these people. I refuse to believe that Jake Paul has ever legitimately won any of those fights. I don't think. I think he has.
You think
Really, he
the
has
fix
the
is in?
desire. I don't think. Yeah, of course, he's a millionaire already, and you know the evidence is all there. Why wouldn't these people want to take the fall that he's fought in? Sorry, Jesus. I don't know. To me, I just don't even want him to have, and I'll freely admit this. I don't want him to have the respect of somebody who is an actual real fighter. You know, like in my opinion, a real fighter, and this is what makes me think he's not one, is that he doesn't have anything to gain. You know, he has nothing to really gain from being a fighter, except for a bit of like I'm better than everybody else at this too. Like he's already a millionaire, so it's not like he's coming from a tough place.
Yeah. Do you think though that it's? Do you think there's something genuine on his part? Whether obviously, he's a legitimate fighter or not, as far as winning them. Do you think there might be? I'm more posing a question. I don't have an opinion really one way or the other. But do you think there's the chance that it could be like he genuinely feels shitty for how he's kind of become popular, and so this is sort of him hitting the reset button or trying to sort of better himself?
He got caught out stealing from places during the Black Lives Matter riots.
That's a definitive
I don't
no.
think he really gives a fuck about anything. I think he's a sociopath, to be honest.
Wasn't there a famous tweet from someone at his high school who's like was quoting, his mum saying, "Oh, he's just a bully. Bullies don't get anywhere in life." And then he goes, "My school bully," and then it's like a picture of his net worth or something like that.
Yeah. So no. It was Jake Paul saying, "Oh, yeah, it was a combination of that, and also Jake Paul saying, when I was in high school, I didn't have it that good," and all this sort of fucking X Factor sob story nonsense.
Yeah.
And then like these people came out, they're like, Jake Paul was my high school bully. He was an asshole, basically. And yeah, that's basically
Got
what
caught
they
out.
were saying. Like, they were like, you literally grew up rich, Jake. You were never out of money. You were never struggling. You don't know what anything like that is like. And then you've, forced your way into fame again.
Yeah, and you kind of have the audacity to sort of speak from a place of kind of being a role model for young males or something.
Which, if anybody looks up to Jake Paul, I don't know what to tell you, man, but you should get some better ideals. It's such an odd phenomenon, isn't it? The whole idea of like watching these really rich people essentially just flex on you day in, day out. I don't know about you, man, but I don't like watching rich people show off how much better they are than me.
Yeah. No,
I watch that, I'm like, fuck you, mate.
Well, it's interesting because it's not even it's not an exclusive like Gen Z, YouTube millennial type thing. Because when you said that, I thought like instantly my mind went to like the Oscars. Like that's why I don't watch them anymore, because that's literally pretty much all they do. You know what I mean? Like it's a very elitist sphere. I mean, there's the infamous story. I think was it this one or last Oscars where there's a film up for nomination about homelessness, and then they kick out all the homeless people and squatters outside the theater so they could have their red carpet. It's like, oh, no self-awareness, no self-awareness.
Yeah, and the only good one out of all of them is bloody Ricky Gervais at his Golden Globe speeches the past few years, especially the 2020 one that he did, where he was like, he was sick of them, and he pretty much told them all how much he bloody hated them, and he said,
Yeah,
you're all out of touch, you sit up here and tell other regular people how to live, and he's like, you've got no fucking idea, and he was just going off at them. That was the most, I don't know, I liked Ricky Gervais before that, but after I saw him give that speech, I was like, damn, this guy is kind of like the coolest celebrity in Hollywood. And he called out, it's Bird Box, I think. He says, Bird Box is up for nomination this year. It's a movie about putting on a blindfold and pretending the monsters aren't there, kind of like working for Harvey Weinstein. And they all start booing him, and he interrupts him and he goes, don't boo me, I didn't do it, you did, he's your friend, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and they immediately kind of like try to laugh to play it off, or just go quiet for the most part.
Well, that's a good one. I won't name a very famous person who's quite a, I guess, women's advocate type thing, Me Too type advocate thing. It's interesting how you can find footage of this person like clapping and giving standing ovations and speaking very highly of like Weinstein during the period where he was alleged to engage in impropriety, shall we say. You know what I mean? Like these people are just so two-faced, and like nothing they say really hits the mark or should be taken like seriously.
Gal Gadot with the what was it? John Lennon Imagine when the coronavirus first started, or Madonna. Have you seen Madonna's video where she's sitting in her golden friggin' bathtub with rose petals, and she's like, none of us are better than anybody now. We're all on an even playing field now. This virus is
no.
And I'm like, shut the fuck up, cunt. You could go to like 6 rooms in your mansion a day and still like find a new fucking thing in the corner every fucking day, you bitch. Don't tell me that we're on the... Shut your fucking mouth. Nothing revs me up more, or almost nothing revs me up more than people like that saying things like that.
It just goes back to that point about flexing on with wealth and things. Like that's such a good example. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people. I guess you and I just aren't wired the way others are, but I guess people just sort of see that stuff and think, oh goodness, that's sort of my aspiration, to be wealthy and have all this money, this fame, these women or guys, depending on preference type thing. And they see that with like the Paul brothers, for example, in their new houses. It's like, don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to have enough money to live comfortably on, and not have to be anybody's bitch for my entire life.
Yeah,
but
that's not the people to look up to. Like, I think what a lot of
they haven't strived for it. Most of them, anyways.
No. Well, it's not a healthy lifestyle. Like, you might think, oh, these parties and oh, you're in LA or whatever, but it's like it's very materialistic, and I feel like it's not a substitute for like genuine accomplishment or like feeling good or happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're getting a bit philosophical, but
yeah, for the Philosopher's Stone.
Hey,
there we go.
Bring it back.
Got him. Y'all didn't know we were still talking about Harry Potter, but we are.
There we go.
We are the whole time.
But speaking of the Philosopher's Stone, I think something that was interesting. So when we were watching this, there's kind of a couple people on a sort of Discord call, and whenever Emma Watson spoke, like Hermione, she came across as a massive brat in this film, and you'd always, and like a big know-it-all, and you'd always say, "Shut up, Hermione, we don't care." Like,
yes, she's like written for people to be like, "Yeah, we hate you. You're annoying."
Yeah, and I bring that up because what was interesting to me is, even though we're kind of joking, like if this film came out, or like let's say Twitter existed back then, I feel like she would have been bullied to shit.
Yeah, by a bunch of like
Mm,
angry, like old or like teenage guys. I mean, it's not out
yeah.
of the realm because remember when that young girl beat a high tier Smash player,
Mm.
um, and she got bullied off the internet by a bunch like the Smash community because she beat him.
Oh, I don't know the
Which
story,
is
but I
weird.
mean,
I'm
like,
surprised they didn't try and molest her, to be honest.
they were disappointed because she
They were disappointed
misinterpreted their
because
question when
yeah.
they said, "Do you want to smash?" Hmm? But anyhow, um, like, yeah, I feel like there definitely would have been some bullying, and you'd have
Of
to
a
wonder, yeah,
young girl, like, just like,
of her, or
um
even the leads, like, or any number of characters who pop up. So it's kind of interesting that it came out at the right time where they wouldn't have to deal with that sort of stuff, um, and would continue through with the whole. I don't know. It's just something that kind of struck me. I was like, yeah. I mean, I guess like there has been stuff like Jake Lloyd in the past for Phantom Menace, which was kind of slack.
Anakin, you
Mm.
mean?
Yeah, the young Anakin. That's just horrific because it's like he's a little kid for starters. Um,
Yeah, there's been countless kids in
mm,
film, like, history that have just been absolutely, like, horrendous actors, but they're kids, man,
yeah.
like, what do you expect? What about this? Even in Star Wars Episode 3, Master Skywalker, there are too many of them.
Mm,
Like, you don't think they ever, like, do you think they even ask that kid, like, hey, do you want to do the line again? But who
yeah.
cares? Like, it's kind of funny, anyways. Like, sure,
Mm.
it takes away from like the kind of the gravity of the situation and stuff. But like, I watched that, I'm like, oh, I love this kid. He's so funny. Like, he just says it so he just speaks so inhumanly. Like, you know.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I mean, he probably was just told that's the line to say. Like, he has no conception of like what the fuck he's referring
Emotion
to.
and stuff.
Yeah,
He doesn't understand.
like
I
George
mean, it's not
isn't.
like they could tell the kid like, yeah, he's about to come
Mm,
in and kill you,
yeah,
because then the kid would have been terrified. And
yeah. Or he's not saying, "Yeah, so you're a part of this religious order that's being genocided by clone troopers." Kid's gonna be
he
like,
would have been
"What
like, huh?
the fuck?" They're just gonna tell him to say the line.
Okay, that's cool and all, George, but where's
Mm.
my ice cream?
His
Yeah.
son has a cameo as
One of those he has like
yeah.
a Padawan, yeah.
He's the one who Bail Organa, Jimmy Smith's the guy who goes to the temple and is like, "There's been a rebellion, sir. You have to leave." Like that Jedi that goes and saves him before the clones shoot him. That's one of George Lucas's
That's
kids.
yeah, yeah. I
Damn.
remember Davin telling me that because we watched it a while ago.
Yeah. Nothing says fatherly love like being cast in your dad's movie and your role is pretty much to die. Although apparently he was really keen to get killed. Like I think his name's Jet. He really wanted to. He's like, oh, so cool! I get to save the day. I like sacrifice myself. So if he's happy with it, whatever.
I mean, yeah, I'd be you know
Hmm.
what? I'd be happy being in a bloody movie.
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
cool.
I mean, bloody
Any movie producers looking to hire somebody who doesn't know how to act or at least never has tried, um,
call him up. Yeah.
and then pay me millions of dollars so I can be the next Jake Paul, except not cringe. But yeah, one thing in this movie that um I did like it is just how good, talking about character actors, how good, or children actors, sorry, how good they were in their roles. How old were they in this movie?
Oh, they'd have to be. They were probably close to the characters' ages. I think they'd be 12, 13.
2001 it came out.
I think
Um,
Emma Watson's in her late 20s. I don't think she's quite 30 yet. Oh no, maybe she has to be based off us. I think.
yeah, so Radcliffe was born in 1989, so that would make him 12, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So it's like the one time where they're pretty much almost bang on with like the character ages
wouldn't
themselves.
no, I don't think so. Because wouldn't wouldn't Harry Potter be the equivalent of them being like in kindy or year one?
No. It's more high school because there's only 6 years,
Ah,
I think. Well, that's my
right,
understanding.
right. Yeah, I never even thought about that. Oh, there you go. Well, at least for this
Mm.
movie, they were in the right age bracket. And
The
then
the one time you ever see like a film in a school situation where they
they're
actually
not
match their
40
age.
years old and like buff as fuck for no reason.
But no, they're all pretty good in this. No,
Quite
no,
convinced.
yeah, no issues from me. And of course, like Alan Rickman's great. Rest in peace, of course.
This is the funnest voice to impersonate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were surprised, of course. Like we knew there's obviously a lot of British talent in this film, and other films like Warwick Davis is here. Gary Oldman does appear 2 films down the line. But you pointed out that John Cleese was one of the ghosts.
Yeah, I didn't realize that as a kid because
Mm.
I mean, I guess I wasn't really, aware of who actors were.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I'd see the same actor in a different movie. I'd be like, "What's Batman doing in this other movie?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was stupid as a child, like unbelievably stupid. Yeah, but John Cleese is the half, nearly headless
Nearly
Nick.
headless Nick. Yeah. That's another example of like Hermione being annoying, where she goes, "How can you be nearly headless?" It's like, fuck,
Shut up.
yeah, shut up, bitch. You just get the Dwayne the Rock Johnson clip.
Yeah, shut up, bitch. Damn. Are we the
Fool.
people that we just made fun of for bullying a small child?
Oh no,
Perhaps.
maybe, but I mean, like they would like go, "Oh, she's a horrible." Like they would take it up with the actress. You know what I mean? Like we're sticking to the character. Like it's just a
Yeah,
bratty character.
that's true.
That's probably how I should have
He does
explained
get a
it.
lot better in the
Mm,
in the other movies from my memory anyways.
yeah.
Ginny sucks. Why does Harry
Mm,
Potter get married to Ginny in the end?
don't know.
So stupid.
It is odd. Or who knows? Don't know. I mean, it's
Hashtag I side with Hermione. Hermione Potter gang. Let's go. Let's start a
mm,
revolution. Let's get
mm. In my film, Harry Potter and Hermione get married.
hashtag release.
Mm.
You had to cut out that part where I said
Whoops. We do a little Doxon. Whoops. I mean, I could put a little and maybe that might be funny. I'll listen back
Yeah.
and see.
I think that would be really funny.
Oh boy.
Release the cut.
No. Oh no.
No. What would the Zack Snyder version of
Mm.
Harry Potter be like?
In my universe, Sirius gets raped in prison. I don't know. Oh, it would just be dark and depressing, and he wouldn't care for any of the characters, and there'd be no depth to them.
You would have read like the grittiest part of one of the
Mm.
books, and
Could
be like,
you
"These are all like all the time."
could you imagine if he did the cinematography with the cameras he has that he did for Army of the Dead, and you're watching a Quidditch sequence and nothing's in focus except the tip of the broomstick?
We should review Army
Oh
of the
god.
Dead. 2 seconds. Bad.
I mean, is it worth for no other reason just to like deconstruct it and see why it doesn't work as a film? Like, because I haven't seen it.
We
Or
could just make a video where we just list off every issue
we
in
could.
that film. I mean, it would be a lot more focused
Mm.
than this video has been. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, if we include footage of the film itself, it wouldn't be. Gazingo. But back to the film. I was thinking on it after we watched it, and I do think that the end sort of dungeon sequence where they're trying to find the stone is a bit silly, for lack of a better word.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, like surely when they go to a new trap room, I guess we'll call it a trap room. Like it plays to each character's strength rather than their weakness, which doesn't make sense to me. Like, oh, you're gonna have to fly your broom and catch this key. Too bad you're very skilled at doing that.
Too bad you're
You know
the
what I mean?
youngest seeker in a century.
Mm.
Idiot.
And then there's sort of like a false sense of danger with the whole chess scene. I think you also pointed this out as well. Like, basically, for whatever reason, Ron decides to just sit on one of the night horses when he doesn't have to sacrifice.
The only reason the other two are on the board to make up for other pieces.
Yeah, to replace pieces. There's no reason he couldn't get off or even get on it in the first place. But whatever. I guess something needs to happen.
And also, the thing that doesn't make sense to me is, how does Harry have it in his pocket? How does he have the Philosopher's Stone in his pocket from the mirror? Because
I don't know, because that doesn't. That's
earlier is like, it's not real, Harry. You can't take anything out of the mirror. He says that, doesn't he? Almost exactly.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of you're projecting something. Yeah, your desires.
Way would be like, Voldemort somehow planted it there for the mirror, I guess. But then why would he give it to Harry then? So no, that's just so the mirror does work, or maybe Harry is so powerful. He's so powerful that he could actually make the mirror, like actually pull something out of the mirror.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like people would just say because magic. Again, there might be an issue where the book it's probably better explained. Maybe he actually finds it, or maybe he just has it all along and he doesn't know what it looks like. But yeah, that part's kind of just a bit strange because not a whole lot of confrontation really happens. I think the sequel, so the next one that follows with the whole basilisk, is a bit more interesting because he's full on being chased and he has to sort of use his wits to fight it. And it's like it's a race against the clock to save Ginny from dying because I think her life force is being consumed by like a ghost Voldemort, which does sound silly, but I think that's what's happening. Whereas in this one, he's sort of just there. Quilch like strangles him briefly, and then Harry just touches his face, and that's it.
Yeah, he just burns him with the power of love.
Yeah, something to it. I think he must have touched this magic, because magic. It's quite incredible that this is a John Williams scored film and film franchise.
You hear it the most in the Quidditch game. In my opinion, it sounds very Star Wars, and just sounds very Star Wars in that part. But for the rest of it, it's like, yeah, this is completely different from anything you've ever done. So I like it. But it's great.
I think it comes down to the choice of instruments that he's using. I think because at that point when it sounds very Star Wars, I think it's those sort of horns that he has for like the spaceship runs, because it's a similar scene of like high intense flying sequence pretty much.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, I still feel like the second probably has the best Quidditch sequence. So that's when it's Harry and Malfoy, and it's got the cursed, the bludger, but it's like one that's been cursed. So it's like actually just going after Harry.
Right.
Yeah, like there's so much at play, and that's when he also breaks his arm, and the stupid idiot, I think his name's Lockhart, something Lockhart. It's like, don't worry, Harry, I'll fix this. He's one of the professors. He's kind of like a
isn't he the dark arts
teacher? Yeah, he's the sham dark arts teacher. He fixes it. I remember being quote unquote fixes it, and then whatever spell he used actually removes all the bones from his arm. So Harry's arm like fully bends back. It's like, oh, that's sick. Or his hand does. Sorry. Yeah, but that's probably the best like broom sequence that I can think of, because I didn't really touch on the Quidditch games after the third one.
Unless I thought, well, what else can we really show when it comes to friggin' Quidditch?
Like, that's true. That's true. Probably want to wrap it up there, unless you want to add anything. I guess we can do a question, but like if there's any more points on the movie or anything discussed.
Damn, what would be a good point to make about this movie. Well, I guess there was like, we got Warwick Davis in it. He's also in Mad Max 3, Master Blaster.
Yeah.
He's the Leprechaun.
He's wicked.
Yep, that's right. Probably, maybe aside from Vern Troy, is that his name? Mini-Me, the most famous midget of all time.
I'd say Peter Dinklage is now up there. I mean, he's a lot more recent, but I think people would know his name. Not on the scale of Warwick Davis, but that's such a unique name too, Warwick.
Yeah, there's a place in Warwick Farm.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a little known fact about Australia. Warwick Farm is where they farm midgets. That's where he was born, believe it or not.
Damn. Do you know, speaking of little people, you know the Lollipop Guild actors from Wizard of Oz? You know, they made less money on that film than the dog.
Damn, bro. That's
dog got more money than the actors.
The dog can't even fucking use the money, man.
Yeah, so it would probably go to its owner and trainer, but I thought that was quite funny.
Oh, that is funny. Like, imagine, no wonder they tried to fucking constantly sexually harass Judy Garland. They really didn't care if they lost the money. That's sad. That is sad. Did you know about that? That they would pretty much daily get absolutely like smashed and just try their luck on Judy Garland?
No, I didn't.
That's actually a real thing.
Wow. Okay. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, war never changes. Hollywood never changes.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, it was funny because I was watching, it might have even been Razorfist, actually. I can't remember who, but someone was streaming LA Noire around the time of the Weinstein allegations were coming out.
Yeah, it would have been Razorfist.
Yeah, and the case they were doing involved a young underage girl getting molested by a Hollywood executive.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Fuck. You know what? I don't agree with a lot of his opinions on things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's extremely intelligent. I'll give him that. He is, in my opinion, very, very smart.
He's very articulate, a very good presenter.
Yeah.
And he knows a lot of stuff about like what he's interested in, whether it's politics or music, comics. Yeah.
I didn't even know that until recently.
I think he's even written his own book. I think he wrote a book recently. I don't know if he released it under his actual name or another pen name or something, but I'm impressed.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. He's played in bands as well. He actually said because he's done a few videos about the Turtles lately. I was watching a live stream of him playing that Batman Vengeance game for the GameCube.
Yep.
Which was frustrating. He was getting lost constantly.
Yeah, he gets too distracted with his mate and the super chats that he misses stuff.
Yeah. He misses like context clues and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucking GameCube game. I don't think it's really that important, but it's just because I've played it and I'm like, get to the next part. But he actually stated that he sent in a story that he drew up for the Ninja Turtles. And Kevin Eastman responded himself and was like, this is really cool. If I was still like fronting or like heading that series and that comic, I would definitely have put this in, but it wasn't at the time. And he said, that was just as good as getting it written up anyways for him, which is nice.
Oh, that's cool. Yes, surprisingly multi-talented, I guess. From video editing, analysis,
politics.
He's even interviewed the Jacksons. He interviewed Taj Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew.
Well, he just uploaded a video today where he interviewed Tim Owens, who sang for Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's really cool.
Mm.
I enjoy his content, even like the longer form stuff. I honestly sometimes, if I'm not like being attentive, I will just I will lose track of what he's even talking about because he just talks so fast and his vocabulary is just like
Yeah, no. His puns as well. I can't even think of one at the moment. Oh yeah, no. Like so he was kind of I think I came across him because of like some of the reviews he did for Metal Gear games. Like a lot of people hated him because he sort of said, no, this series is pretty subpar. It's not as good as people think it is.
yeah.
And he kind of was of the opinion that the first one was pretty much a blatant rip-off of Escape from New York. And he made a comment saying, now before you and I'm butchering of this of course, before you reply, just remember, homage is spelled with an H and is silent. And just like that H, shut the fuck up. Or something like that. I can't remember how it goes. I have to find it, but it's so funny.
That he does is so fun. Like, there's no way that his stuff isn't scripted, but that doesn't take away from it.
Yeah, no, he still like writes the shit.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah, I don't know when people say like, "Oh, he's not talking off the cuff; it's scripted." It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, what an own.
Yeah, you want to know what happens when you talk off the cuff?
This,
you get this. Yeah, that's it.
Got him. But yeah, I guess to wrap it up, the question, I guess, to keep in line with Harry Potter, which character do you think is going to become gay next?
Oh damn, dude! I can tell you. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Hmm.
But I can tell you one thing I know is that none of them will ever be transgender.
Oof.
JK trolling, more like it. All right, well, I'm not Razorfist. God, fucking speed.